Hi students, welcome to Spring Term 2. We are going to spend the next few weeks together in practice and professionalism in healthcare. So I'm Dr. Lindsay Nesmo, my phone number's right here, but I prefer that you use the email, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So we need to run through a few things together in week 1. We'll take a look at the syllabus, the calendar, and then other stuff that you need to get done for this week. So let me jump over to the course, and we'll start there. Okay, so we said syllabus first, so let's find that. It's over here on the left-hand side. Many of you are probably familiar with this as you're nearing the end of your academic careers. All right, again, my phone number here, email as well. But if you want to get a hold of me really quickly, the best way to do that is to use the course messages on the left-hand side. I'm checking this throughout the day, almost every day, with the exception of maybe a couple weekends here and there. But this email is really more of a backup. So if you don't have access to the course, or for some reason you can't log in and you can't use this course messages, then just have this saved somewhere so you can get a hold of me that way. And then again, my office phone is at my office on campus. And I'm very rarely on campus. I'm usually kind of bouncing around between classrooms or excuse me, teaching in the labs. So if you want to get a hold of me the fastest way, again, use course messages. All right, let's scroll down a little bit. I know that all of you want to know about grades, so we'll start there. Grading in this class is based on weekly discussions. Those add up to about 100 points. The course project is by far the biggest part of this entire course, and there are 5 parts to that. We'll talk about each one. There are a couple of written assignments that only adds up to about 40 points. A live classroom every week, so that's this one right now for Module 1. We will schedule those out as we look at the next coming weeks. And then one final exam, worth about 10% of your grade. So not too bad. Everything's pretty balanced with the exception of the course project, but that makes sense because it's going to be most of your work. All right, excuse me, oh, a little tickle on my nose. For the grading scale, you need to be above 60%. Some of you in other courses maybe have had 73 as the cutoff before, but that's not the case here. You need a 60. And the last thing I'd like to point out here in this point in the syllabus is the academic integrity policy. I just want to really hone in on plagiarism. I've had a lot of students in the past who maybe don't quite understand what plagiarism is or how it's bad. So think of it this way. If you are copying someone else's work, no matter if you give them credit or not, that's plagiarism. Right? If you were to copy someone's song that exists and say, turn it in as your own work, that's not your own work, you just copied their song. So that doesn't count. Don't copy and paste. Another good reason why that's not okay, think of it this way. If I were going to read a book on how to fly a plane, and instead of reading it and understanding it and then being able to explain it, I just took those pages and put it into a Word document and submitted it. Would you trust me to fly the plane? You shouldn't, right? I don't understand it. Just because I took someone else's words and put it into a Word document doesn't show that I actually learned it. So as an instructor, I want to know that you're learning things, that you're getting something out of this class. So when you're completing your assignments, do not copy and paste. Just want to make that really clear up front. And if you have questions about that and you want to learn how to do quotations or paraphrase, I'm more than happy to talk about that. But if there's any question in your mind, whether this is okay or not, talk to me first. Don't just turn it in, because then it needs to be reported, and that's no fun for anyone. All right, I'll scroll way back to the top here. The next thing we're going to look at is the calendar over here on the right-hand side. This is where you'll find due dates for everything in this course. All right, and you'll have to excuse me because I have a couple courses pulled up here. You are looking at the blue ones. So M281 is the blue. We're starting today, which is Wednesday. Your first discussion post is due this Friday, and that's a one-off. Usually those are due on Tuesdays, but there is no Tuesday this week. So you have until Friday to get your initial post done, and then one more day to get your reply done. Everything else is due on a Sunday. So your live classroom word that I'll give you in this video will be due on Sunday. Your course project will be due on Sunday, and from here on out, everything follows a pattern. We begin on Monday, discussion Tuesday, reply post Saturday, everything else due Sunday, and so forth. Moving forward into June, you'll see that pattern continues until the 16th, when we are completely done with class, and everything is due on that Friday, no later. All right, that sounds like a good plan. Quick look back at the course home here. We have live lectures posted every single week. I will post the link right here when it's done. But we need to schedule one. So if you have not already taken a look at either this link right here or the email that I sent earlier today, please do so. When you click on that link, it will ask you when you're available. Oh goodness, and I need to fix that link, of course. All right, I'll do that. But there's a few options throughout the week. I just want to know when the majority of you can actually attend. It's always more interesting for me to speak to a group instead of just make a recording. That being said, you don't have to attend. You will get credit for attending if you watch a video as well. All right, back to our agenda. We need to talk about the course project. There are 5 parts to this course project. This week you're turning in a HIPAA policy and a sample rejection letter. So there's actually 2 parts to it. Next week you'll be talking about soft skills. Soft skills are things like communication and being friendly and having a good customer service attitude. And we'll dive into that more when we get to it. In Module 3, you'll be writing an essay on cultural diversity, how that works in the healthcare setting. Module 4 is creating an online survey. And that's actually one of the funnest parts, I think, because you get to create something that's actually usable. And you may find that that's a really good skill to have as you become part of the healthcare world. And then lastly, you're presenting on a chosen topic. So those are the 5 parts. We're just looking at the HIPAA policy and sample rejection letter today. We're going to take a quick look ahead and look at an example of that all together. So here it is. I'll make this bigger for you. Eventually, in Module 5, you'll be turning in this manual that looks like this. There will be a title page and a table of contents, but don't worry about that yet. We're just starting here. You are starting with your HIPAA policy, and you're going to discuss what HIPAA means, discuss why it's important in the workplace, and what kind of consequences exist if we don't follow HIPAA. Here's a little pet peeve of mine. A lot of people will spell HIPAA with 2 P's and 1 A, so don't do that. It's an abbreviation, and by this point in your careers, HIPAA is nothing new. I just want to make sure that you're using the correct abbreviation when you talk about it. So you'll be summarizing HIPAA right here. When you're making that summary, think of it like you're explaining it to someone who's never worked in healthcare before. They have no idea, they're brand new to your clinic, you're the hiring manager, and you have to say, this is what HIPAA is, this is why we have to follow it, this is why it's important. All right, then the second part of this project is to create a sample rejection letter. And there's a very specific format you need to follow here. This is laid out very well in the lesson content folder. So if you haven't had a chance to look at that yet, please do. You will be making up a fake clinic, and you can name your clinic whatever you want. It can be called Sunshine Clinic or something more creative. You will address a patient, and you can give your patient whatever name you want, whatever address you want. And then you are going to deny them something. You can deny a service, you can deny a payment, you can deny care for some reason or another. All you need to do is explain why and then give a follow-up. So if this decision doesn't work for that patient, what do they do? Who do they contact? What's their next step? That's part of this assignment. So deny something and then give a follow-up and make sure that you are using the correct format. All right. Then taking a look ahead, when we get to modules 2, 3, 4, and 5, you will finish this document by creating the rest of this information. and this is not to overwhelm you, but I just want to give you an idea of what the final project looks like. So it is fairly long. We have a memo and your survey that's created as well. So that's the whole project. All we're worried about this week is the rejection letter and the HIPAA summary. You'll find that in the assignments folder right here. Much more detail right here if you need to look into that a little bit more. Right. I think that summarizes the course project pretty well. Let's go into discussions. Discussions are worth 20 points each week, 10 points for getting your post done, and then 10 points for doing a reply post. With the exception of this week, your first post is always due on a Tuesday and reply on Saturday. The expectations here are fairly simple. I would expect that you use around 150 words in each post. If you used 149, right, I'm not going to count your words. I'm just trying to give you general guidelines of what's expected. And as far as your reply, one student minimum, right, so reply to one classmate. More is absolutely encouraged. But when you do that, you can't just say, I liked your post. Right? You have to say something that would further a discussion. If you were talking to someone face to face and they presented a paragraph of information and you said, good work, that'd be kind of awkward, right? So think of it as if you're talking to them in person and address what they said or ask more questions or follow up in a meaningful way. Your written assignments, again, there's none due this week, but we will see some coming up. They're always due on Sundays. And I do expect that your written assignments are created in APA format. Again, a lot of you are towards the end of your careers as academic students, and I hope that you know what that is already. If you're unfamiliar, there's tons of resources through the library, and I'm happy to point you in the right direction if you need help there. All right, here is your live lecture question to wrap things up today. For Module 1, when you log in and you enter your live lecture question, I want you to just answer this. How do you ensure a professional tone in your written communication at work? So maybe you're already in the workplace. What do you do that makes you sound professional when you are sending an email or writing a memo or even just making a note to give to a colleague? What makes that professional? And then if you're not in the workplace yet, think about what you would do. How would you respond to an email from your boss? Or how would you communicate through a note or a chart note in a professional way? All right, and there's no right or wrong answer here. So don't worry about researching this. I just want your opinion. I want you to tell me from your experience or what you think will happen in the future, how you could approach a professional tone when you're creating written communication. All right, I hope that is a good start for you in Module 1. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to help. And again, using the course messages is the best way to get a hold of me. All right, I will talk to you soon. Thanks, bye.